I'm Chris Stamey, and I was in that band.
Hi, Chris. I'm Grady Sandlin. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be.
What's been going on? Tell me about Modernism if you want.
Well, Modernism is a little bit of a departure from my usual run of albums in that it has a lot of covers. It's primarily covers. And I really had a blast making it and have really enjoyed putting it on myself, which isn't always the case with my records because sometimes there are emotional undercurrents that make it less likely to land on my turntable. This one has been really fun across the board, and I'm proud of it.
That's cool. I listened to it today, and I knew a couple of the tracks had come out before. Hey Bulldog, which is great, and what was the other? Something else came out before.
It might have been Waterloo Sunset.
Yes. Those to me seem like pretty, I don't want to say obvious because that sounds derogatory, but like, I would expect that you would like those songs. Being what I know about you and your music. And you revisit some of your older stuff on here as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd recorded Waterloo Sunset with the DBs, and it was kind of languishing in the archives. It had never been quite finished, and I was really fond of it, and there wasn't really a plan for the DBs to release it, so I asked everybody if it'd be okay for me to finish it. And once I had that track, it seemed kind of lonely to put it out without any accompaniment, so I had a few other tracks that were somewhat archival, but I went into the studio hoping to get one or two songs, and I think we cut 12 tracks maybe, of which maybe 7 of them ended up on this record, and just had a great day in the studio at Mitch Easter's place with Rob Ladd playing drums. And so the record, what was going to be a maxi single or an EP, really became a full project, and it was really good to connect with a lot of friends in the making of it too.
I saw you had Jody on Hey Bulldog. That's great. I love Jody's drumming. It's really cool to hear him.
And you can tell it's him, right? I mean, you can always tell it's him.
Yeah. I love his drumming I'm a drummer. So, that stuff on the Big Star records just exploded into my brain, hearing him drum. And yes, you can still tell it's him. And, he's matured like any of us have. It's so crazy to think that he made those records in his early 20s and they're so iconic. And you get to work with him kind of a bit now, right?
We play actually many times a year, which is weird, but really great. I had done some orchestral electric guitar concerts called Big Star's Third, and that might involve like 30 people, and they were complicated. And then Jody wanted to do some shows just with a few of us from that. So Mike Mills and Pat Sansone and John Auer and Jody and I have been playing shows the last couple of years that are still kind of ambitious. It's not a jam session. We try to be very precise and do our best for the material, playing, a lot of the Big Star songs and Chris Bell songs, but it's still just really fun. We enjoy each other's company, and they're strangely joyful events for music that is at times kind of dark and disturbing. So yeah, I stand next to his hi-hat all the time. I play bass for about a fifth of the set, particularly when Mike sings lead, and playing bass next to Jody's hi-hat is an experience. I mean, it's I would imagine it's like standing next to Keith Richards on stage. It's just something, a sound from my dreams, and I get to hear it a whole lot. So yeah, Jody, I mean, I love it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I was that dreams came to mind when we were when I knew I was going to bring this up, and I mean, that those records. I mean, I know they had a big impact on you and were a big deal. I mean, is it like a dream come true to be touring and playing that music with those guys or with Jody? And
I mean, mostly it's really fun and joyous. That's what, I guess I should pinch myself more, but it just seems like it's strange how much when we don't have, I mean, the primary songwriters, Alex and Chris Bell, are not around, obviously, and so it's more like I mean, I think of the Charles Mingus big band after he died that really tried to play those arrangements. We try to bring the music to life, but because we're not at the heart of the emotional turmoil that might have resulted in the songs, it's a little bit more chill, I guess I'd have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I played with Alex a lot, and that was wonderful, totally wonderful, but that had its own very strong energy, and this has a different kind of energy.
Yeah. I mean, that history, or your history with Alex, is pretty, well documented. But for the sake of kind of the discussion, you guys met in New York.
He came up to promote an EP that came out on Orc Records, and it's called The Singer Not the Song. And I put together a backing band for what was going to be one gig. And that gig actually has come out on a record. It was at the Lower Manhattan Ocean Club. The band got so much better after that show. I mean, that was just after a couple of rehearsals. So I kind of hate that history has that as the be all and end all of that particular group. But Alex just stayed in New York and played all the clubs that were popping up in the wake of CBGBs, as well as playing CBGBs. And we had a great time together it was only about a year, but it was a pivotal time for me as a youngster, having just moved to New York. And so he went on to do a million great things, but I'm very grateful for that time somewhat under his mentorship.
Yeah. I mean, knowing what I know about you, and you seem to, like writing is a part of because you're a producer as well, and you record yourself. When it seems like when I hear you talk about writing, you compose a little bit with recording in mind, arrangement in mind. And Alex,
I used to, for sure. I mean, in high school, we were that dramatic drum fill before a chorus, or having an extra bar where you don't expect it, or a half bar. It was definitely like writing a script with indications of okay, this is going to be a close-up shot, or here it's a car chase.
Yeah.
I don't write so much like that anymore. I've been writing more as on paper with, I just write out the melody and the chords, and often in very symmetrical, 16 bar, 8 bar phrases. I've changed a lot in that regard. I like thinking about what a recording would be, but these days I'm a little more interested in the more stripped down elements of the song.
Cool. Yeah, I play, like, I just did a Blonde on Blonde show. We covered the record for just our local crowd here in Denton, Texas, on Saturday. And I read. I'm primarily a country musician, so I read a lot of Nashville number charts. But when I was coming up, it was the real book, thing, and so I'm used to reading those, and there is something too about when you've had to learn a bunch of other material, and then I see, when trying to chart someone's song, and I can go, okay, they really thought this through when it's, sometimes you need a bar here or there for effect or something like that. But when it's charted out and you can kind of see that there's a real natural flow to it, you can avoid. I mean, first of all, it just makes it easier to play. Sometimes a little thing, a dropped bar here or there can make a really cool effect. But so do you think you tend to write in this is going to be easy to put in front of musicians and just kind of run with it?
No, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes I write stuff that's pretty hard, but it's more like, okay, do I get the players together and we record it? We do a bunch of takes. I edit it together, the best takes. We cut the strings, we do all this, blah, 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 get it mastered and release it? Or do I just have this piece of paper on top of the piano? And sometimes just writing the piece of paper and moving on wins out. It's, I still get to pat myself on the back thinking, yeah, that's a song. And then, I don't know, it's an interesting, it lets me write more songs. It's not, I don't know if this is just a moment in my songwriting and I'll go back to the whole let's make a movie thing, but I'm not really trying to make it easier for players.
Okay. You've always kind of been the creative engine in your projects?
Oh, no, not, I mean, I just did this project with 3 records with a group called Assault Collective, and there's been a ton of people involved in that, and I've co-written some of the material, but not all of it, and that's been really fun. I'm just finishing up a record with a 22-year-old songwriter named Allie Kinney, and I don't think I've done any writing on it. I mean, I've done arranging, and I've written some string and wind charts for it, but it's really all her thing. It's just, I think I am glad to be a lieutenant or a private if that's the role. But, there's a satisfaction in doing creative work that is unlike any other.
Oh, absolutely. And like from the beginning, did you record yourself? Is that kind of how you figured it out?
In the beginning, well, I mean, I started writing music, when I was 5 or 6 on the piano, and I couldn't write it down. I was just making up these pseudo faux Chopin little ditties. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. I loved recording as a separate thing. Tape recorders, reel-to-reel tape recorder, or even a cassette machine in the middle or late 60s was a marvel.
Yeah.
It was magic. So that was a fun part of it. But I had tape recorders before I was trying to record any music. It was just really fun to record, the audio from a television program and then be able to play it back. It seemed like voodoo,
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same experience. Tape recorder.
Oh, yeah.
And then a similar deal once I was in bands trying to, acquire a 4-track and then, figure out how to make that work, and, realizing you could layer parts and stuff like that. I think, aside from your bands and your creative output, you've got quite a story going with just your record credits. Like a lot of great artists, some I was not even aware that you had done that are records I really like.
I think most people are surprised that I worked on the La Tigre records with Kathleen Hanna. Yeah. But those were some of my total favorites, and it was a really creative time and a different set of paradigms than what I might encounter with, say, Alejandro Escovedo. Not that he is blinkered, but the La Tigre records are very dear to me, and they're not necessarily what a fan of the Beatles is going to put on.
Yeah. When you're doing stuff like that, a band like that kind of comes in kind of with their songs ready to go, and you're just in capture mode, right?
Oh, no. I mean, you mean specifically with La Tigra? They had some loops planned out. Kathleen had a vision or the three of them had a vision for the songs, but like I remember working on that song "Hot Topic" on that first record. That I'd already done a record with, kind of mixed a record with Kathleen called Julie Ruin. But so this was the second project. But there's a song called "Hot Topic," and they were distracted in some political discussion, and I put a trumpet and a floor tom and all these things on it really quickly. In essence, while they weren't really paying attention, and that changed the record, I think. I mean, so no, I felt like I had, some creative, but when you're dealing with things that are loop based or, sample based, they have such a strong fingerprint that they don't, you're not going to talk about, well, is the tempo right, or do we change the key?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you're kind of like adding to an arrangement or augmenting rather than really, really affecting it.
I mean, I think the job of a producer is somewhat to fill in what's missing in order to make it a great audio experience. And if almost nothing is missing, you should do almost nothing. Mm-hmm. I think what we're talking about seems too broad for me to be very insightful in response, or I'm not clever enough to really communicate it properly. But yeah, I mean, my angle on producing records is in a way more song specific than artist specific. I mean, I try to let the song. I try to fall in love with the song, and if there's some place in it where I'm not in love with it, I question why not. I'm not really thinking about how is this going to work live in a 900 capacity club or on TV. I'm more thinking about what is the song, what's the shape of the song.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the record making is really what, I mean, that's sort of what we all sort of fell in love with, I think, or at least I did. Or I fell in love. I'm consider myself a musician because I like records so much that I just wanted to be involved. There was like a magic there, and I just wanted to be a part of it,
Right.
And as a young drummer, I was, I'm born 1980, so I'm listening to Metallica, Rush, these like a lot of stuff with a lot of fast drumming and stuff like that, and but I grew into really liking classic rock and listening to Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Right.
I love Mitch Mitchell's drumming on those, but just taking it back to Dylan, I loved Like a Rolling Stone. I remember putting that cassette on and putting my headphones on and wanting to, and kind of like, okay, I'm learning this today. And playing through it a couple times and going, man, there's not a lot going on with the drums.
Right.
And that sort of like, it sort of informed me at a very influential age that there was a different kind of power in that music, in Bob's music, than there was in progressive rock or something like that. And I think really since then I've been in love with songs. I've made some records, produced some records, and tried to follow that ethos of like, what is this artist going for? What am I listening for? What's the thing that I think is the magic here, and how can I amplify it, or how can I put it in a frame? That's something I think, like, let's take Third, for example. Jim Dickinson seemed to have a real good idea of what was happening, and that, there's some chaos happening here. And I'm just gonna embrace it. There's things going on in that record that, I wonder about you trying to recreate it. Do you get someone in and go, okay, at the end of nighttime, I need you to shake the tambourine as though with no relation to the song at the end, or something like that? How does that go?
Let's see, the arrangement of Nighttime. I think we actually, mostly the percussion stuff was not that crazy, but it was pretty strict with the, we had the actual string arrangement when I was playing that one. And in fact, for the movie, Carl Marsh conducted it, and it was, so I think we actually kept everything straight. So I'm not sure if that's your question. There are lots of plays that ended up being movies, and then there are movies that ended up as plays. If you're talking about the Big Star Third record as a movie, you wouldn't expect the play of it. The play would be that, the camera's not doing close-ups. It's a different stage. So no, I don't think we. I had the multi-tracks, and there were some things that we would do specific, but
yeah,
if it felt, precious, I think we wouldn't do it. That song Downs, the kick drum was a basketball, so we did use a basketball as a kick drum on stage.
Cool.
And for the Cronus Quartet, I wrote a string arrangement for it. There's no strings on the record, but the instruction for the viola was just whinny like a donkey. It wasn't actually anything written out. And we got something going that was aleatoric and different every time, but maybe it was in the spirit of it. And you're dealing with people's memories of a recorded work, and that kind of record, Big Star's Third, they probably discovered, after midnight on their own with headphones, and it's, people who love that record love it really deeply. So, it's risky business, but I don't know if, like, the version I did of Kangaroo for that, which is up on all the streaming sources and is in the movie, or the arrangement for Holocaust, were actually quite different, but I had memories of playing those songs with Alex live, where they were different every time. And in fact, Kangaroo was, the times we would play it in New York, it would be like an exposition. He might, in the middle of it, go into playing 8 Miles High by the Byrds, or, it could go a lot of different ways. And so, that made it seem okay to take some liberties with the original recording. But, if something felt like it was cute, I think we stayed away from it, except maybe for the basketball.
Yeah. That's cool. That seems like, if this piece was composed for basketball, let's play it on a basketball, But, a lot of that Big Star Third record had to do with Carl Marsh. He was just this kid right out of music school, who was doing some R&B charts, maybe for Stax, I'm not sure, but then got a call to do this. Jody wanted him to do like a kind of a Eleanor Rigby arrangement
for a song Jody had written, and then Alex got the bug, and it was Carl took his shot and really wrote something great for those songs. So part of doing that run of concerts was actually honoring that young Carl Marsh joined in and really took seriously what must have seemed like at times madness in Memphis at that era.
Yeah, I've always liked that there's a juxtaposition with that there are some things that are kind of rough, and then there's some real beauty in it.
You talk about Jim Dickinson. Peter Holzapfel and I have an expression of doing something Dickinsonian, which usually relates to a piano part where you're just kind of tinkling, but it's a sense of time that's not necessarily locked to 4/4. Something impressionistic. I love the Webern miniature pieces for orchestra that would just be like stars splattered against the sky, and that element of what Dickinson maybe brought to Kangaroo on the Big Star Third record is something that has continually been cherished by the people I'm close to.
Sure. Did you ever get to work with him, meet him, any of that?
No, I don't think I did. I mean, John Fry, I got to know fairly well, and some of the other folks involved, and John was great. But I don't think I mean, Mary, his wife, I did get to know. I did do a thing at the university here with her, and she was great.
Did you get to work with John Fry?
Yeah, well, no, I think I got to hang out with him more. Well, we did some things together, but I never did a record with him. Okay. But, he'd call, and, he was great, a real believer.
In this, in that, late 70s period, you do that record that Alex produced, and, I guess, how do you end up being kind of a record man? Like, you put out some stuff for Alex, right? Did you end up involved in was it Orc?
I didn't put out anything on I had a label called Car Records, and I didn't put out anything. I put out a record, 2 sides recorded by Chris Bell, called one was I Am the Cosmos, and the flip was You and Your Sister, and that was an extremely cool and weirdly influential record because it was great. But Alex brought that to my label. Well, to me, it was hardly a label. It was, and but I didn't put out anything by him.
Okay.
There's a track on this new record. Alex produced me, and the only things that came out were The Summer Sun and Where the Fun Is. But I did find an early work tape of the song Ruby Tuesday, and ended up putting it on this Modernism record.
Yeah, it closes the record, I think.
And it's Alex on drums, which is a little bit of a rare bird.
Oh, awesome. Okay. That's great. I saw him listed on the credits. I didn't know what it was. How cool. Do you drum?
No, I don't. Well, I have, but I shouldn't admit to it. I'm terrible.
Man, I'm being a drummer. I sometimes like non-drummers' attempts. There's a guy that I work very closely with, and sometimes I've tricked him into doing the drums of like, you just do a pass of what you want me to do, and I'll get the sound, and then I'll come in there and do it, and then I'll record it and be like, just come listen and
fun.
But I always like other instrumentalists' interpretations. I feel like the drum set, just going back all the way, as soon as you step away from it, someone else wants to sit down and mess around on it. And I always like the ideas that that come out of that.
I mean, Alex played drums on all the stuff I did, but I doubt if he had been down in Memphis, if that would have been allowed. I don't think I knew to say no, and I'm glad I didn't. I mean, I think what he did was really cool in all of them, but I can't say that he had mastered the rudiments, but he knew what was good on a record.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's like, what needs to happen there in a very impressionistic kind of way. You're just like something like this and throw it down. You don't overthink it. And that to me is like a beautiful thing, especially sometimes just getting something down when making a record is the way to go. I tend to.
I wish there were rules, everybody would make great records all the time, but it doesn't seem like there are exact rules, a lot of it has to do with just who's in the room.
Yeah. Do you like rules? Do you set rules for yourself?
That's too big a question. I can't answer.
Okay. Well, so Alex brings you that Chris Bell song?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like they had already been to maybe didn't him and his brother go to Europe or the UK?
It was finished. Yeah. They had, in fact, I talked to Jeff Emmerich about it afterward. I guess Chris came in repeatedly over the course of several months to have Jeff mix it. And, at some point, like Jeff was mixing it and the tape recorder ate the tape. So when you hear the recording, there's the strange effect on the guitar solo that's actually because the tape was crinkled and crumpled up at one point.
Whoa. That's wild. I mean, that song, I mean, just, I can remember the effect of hearing it the first time, that opening line and then the way the band comes in, just, I mean, what an impression. I kind of wish I could relive it of just hearing it for the first time again, because it really blew my mind.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
Where do you get the idea to think I'm going to put this out? Did you already have that label going?
Kind of. Yeah. I put out a few records by my friends and myself. I mean, I knew you just have to give the people money and you get the records back. It used to be mysterious, but by that year, I'd figured out that it was essentially what had been called vanity records. And, in Nashville, it was full of people. I mean, Elvis went into Sun to record a song for his mom's birthday, I think.
Right.
And I guess walked out with a lacquer or something. I don't know. But, yeah, You think growing up that the only way to put out a record is to have a guy in a suit behind a desk condescend to deal with you, but actually the fact that you could just pay the pressing plant and they give you records back was a revelation back then. I mean, this was before indie labels walked the globe like they do today.
In prepping for this, I was kind of wanting to go back to your records on A&M. And those aren't streaming. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is Fireworks down? But I mean, It's All Right record. Yeah, I told them I wanted it back because of what Congress had said they had to do. And they said, well, we don't agree with that. And we're going to take it down while this gets sorted out. Yeah, so unfortunately, it has disappeared. And I should go back and get in and make a deal with them. And but I have not had the time to deal with it. I like that It's All Right record quite a bit, and it was a good time for me trying to stretch out a little bit, and I would like it to be heard. But yeah, I think is Fireworks not up there? That was the other A&M record.
That one is
okay, but they're going to take it down soon because it's time for me to ask for it back based on what Congress thinks should happen.
I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Oh, it's a lot to go into. I mean, there's a revision clause where At a certain point between 35 and 40 years after the release, the artist can ask for the rights back.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
And exactly what those rights are, Congress, not being record people, didn't define as closely as they might have.
Okay.
So it's it's a little up in the air, but time grinds slowly, but it does grind.
Yeah. You go off like you love television, right? This is your favorite band?
I did like them quite a bit. Those were great shows, and I think there are a lot of people who would agree. And I love the recordings. I've worked with Richard Lloyd off and on over the years, and always really gotten a lot out of that. And I actually the last several. I opened for television for a bunch of their last shows together before Tom died. I did a thing with a small string trio opening for them, and it was really nice to connect in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I feel like you've done a really good job of through your career. Like you're a collaborator. You seem to work well with other people. And in both in production and in performance. And, is that, aside from like your love of music, does it have a lot to do with the people for you?
I really like musicians. I like that they're disciples of something so magical. It's easy for me. I don't know how it is for them, but yeah, the thing about don't meet your heroes. I've met a lot of them, and they've been great. I guess if you look back at my CV, it looks like a lot was going on, but I'm at an advanced age, so I guess per year it hasn't been that busy. Once I started producing people, once I moved back to North Carolina and was producing full time, a lot of people went through the doors here, though. I haven't really co-written very much. I co-wrote one song with Dan Wilson, a few with Peter Holzapfel, but mostly I write music by myself.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it. So like more fun to have an idea and bring it to people and go. Let's. Your contribution will be how you interpret it, kind of thing, rather than being there for the actual creation of it. Did you find it hard co-writing?
I just haven't done it. It's not. I don't find it hard. It really. I don't know. It's just not. The experience of writing music for me is being in a particular zone, and the experience of co-writing sometimes is finding the lowest common denominator between you. I guess I'm floundering here, but usually when I write music, it's early in the morning and nobody else is around. So that also cuts out the list.
Yeah. I feel like, and sometimes these relationships with people, when you work closely with someone for some amount of time and it dissolves, or for whatever reason, you see a lot of cases where people don't come back to work together. There's some, historically really huge ones. You've always, like you mentioned Peter, and then I know at some point also maybe had stopped playing with Alex, but you guys continued to collaborate on things like I just feel like sometimes people in these kind of things badly are, and then it's hard to come back to. Do you, how do you maintain this sort of like neutral ground with people where you feel like the door is still open?
I don't know. I think musicians like to play music, and you get together. Or, I mean, you're asking a broad question, the answer of which I am not privy to, because I only know me, I guess. But what do people fall out? I mean, over money, and I mean, I'm fortunate in that so many of my friends have never made much money, so that's not been a problem. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, anybody who works with Peter Holzapfel will tell you that they get something out of it. I mean, he's just really, he had the musician's gene when he was born. His brother was an accomplished musician. He is super intuitive, and anything he's involved with. So when I'm around him, it's easy. But I mean, it sounds like you've been around this or experienced it, or I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's weird being creative because it does put you out on the end of the diving board a lot, and I'm sure that tempers can fray, and but you get in a room with musicians, and you've got an instrument in your hands, and there's some common ground, and things usually go well.
Yeah, and especially if you've had a favorable result with them in the past, and you've got a certain level of expectations.
Yeah.
Right. Because I guess like I've been in musical situations with people where I go, well, we're cool. Maybe I don't fancy going back there, but we're fine. We're, and then there's other people I would think, man, I'd love to get back into a, musical situation with this person if it comes about.
I mean, I guess if I don't think I can help, I don't get involved. Yeah. I mean, for me, if I really need to be in love with it, because I don't really have instincts if I don't have an emotional island to work from, and if I don't have my instincts, I'm not going to be any good to them.
Yeah. The time that you came up, I love those first couple DB records that you're on. And I feel like it's very, the 80s was unkind to some people. I mentioned a Dylan, I'm a Dylan fan. We're not, or at least like, I think I like them and I will listen to them, but it was not a great time for him. It was not a lot. There were a lot of artists who did not do well in the 80s. And I think I mentioned, I like the, It's All Right record and, the DB stuff. I think you guys did well. Are you a fan of like 80s production? Do you hear that stuff now and wish it was different?
It will have to be case by case, but you find that technology or recording technology or whatever changes, and everybody gets thrown for a loop, and then things get better after a while, and that happened not only in the 80s with drum machines and sequencers, but in the 70s when multi-track recording came along, and all of a sudden there were all these mics on the drums that were not necessarily in a good place, and records got sounding really pretty weird and thin with all the polarity issues, and people, doing records, starting with a metronome and just a drum track where they didn't really know the best way to approach that. And then after a while, records got better. And the same thing with the 80s, I think that by saying the 80s, you're talking about a certain amount of room sound on a snare sample, and a certain kind of bombast. And that was partially because of these new technologies that were just being figured out. And I think everything staggered for a while, but, I bet I could find records from the 80s that I consider really super successful, and maybe as many as from the 70s and the 60s and the 90s. Well, the 90s, it was kind of a black hole to me because I was just producing stuff on my own and I didn't have time to listen to other records, so much. But
yeah.
I just find that new technology makes things get weird for a couple of years and then people adjust to it and it kind of settles down again.
Was there no, in this thought of on this current record, or if you're revisiting things, was there any, is it just this sounds fun to play now? Is that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's a song called "Of Time and All She Brings to Mind" that had been recorded in somewhat of a contemporary at the time 80s fashion. And I like that version. No, your listeners can't hear it because that's on that suppressed record, but the record in contention, it's all right. Mm-hmm. But I had another angle on that song coming from having played it live before it was recorded and having played it live after it was recorded. And so we went back and cut that in the studio, and I like the way it turned out. So it's on this record. And you can compare it to the original version that Scott Litt did, and I think both have merit in different ways. But it's pretty different.
Yeah. Is that just are most of these like just wanting to revisit for fun on this record?
Well, I mean, I had the track Waterloo Sunset, and I really wanted to frame it with a few more tracks as like an EP or something. And then it ended up where I liked so much of what we did. I was just hoping to get a few successes, and had a great session with Rob Ladd. And that really populated the list into being a full album. And it was really fun to finish up the tracks and do things a little differently with the arrangements. I mean, this record, I think I played almost all the guitar on it. And in the last couple of decades, really, I've been relying on my friends who actually practice to come in and play guitar more on the records. I mean, I would play solos, but not the other parts so much. And I found that I'd been depriving myself of a lot of enjoyment, for better, or I don't know if it's better for the listener, but I really liked playing so many of the fretted instruments and keyboards on this record.
I think you're an exceptional guitar player, dude.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really. I have an angle on soloing that is a little bit uninhibited, I think, but I'm a keyboard player and a bassist. I feel pretty comfortable there. Guitar is still like, wait a minute, you mean the B string is a third and not a fourth? It's like, what the hell? I still think of it in a way as an instrument with two skinny strings and another instrument with four big ones,
However,
I sound like I'm making a joke, but I'm not. That's the pity of it.
That's great. That's great. I mean, however you're thinking of it, I think it sounds really cool when you're holding a guitar.
Okay, thanks.
You mentioned Richard Lloyd and getting to play with him and you can hold your own with players. I think there's something and I think what Ira does, with the guitar is just a beautiful thing.
Eric Kaplan.
Yes, Yo La Tengo.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes, and I mentioned Neil. I feel like sometimes when a guitar player is too good, I don't. It resonates with me less.
I mean, I play with Mitch Easter a lot, and he can play the most beautiful, unusual solos. But when he sits down to play on a basic track, he's in tune. The picking is precise. You get something that you can make loud in the mix, and that's not me. But so I know the difference. But I'm fortunate in making my own records is that if I do play something good, I remember it and I turn it up in the mix, and that's been a big help. This is a conversation, right? I guess that sounds ridiculous, but that is, that's my take on it. I would enjoy making a record that was just a one chord jam. I mean, I did a song called Euphoria not too long ago that was along those lines, but I don't know. I fall into having a bunch of actual songs with chord changes and lyrics and that I want to record, and those end up getting the nod more than just cutting loose in the studio.
Yeah. There's a good like subcurrent. I don't know who runs that. Before streaming, before everything was available like it is now, I would find new music through blogs. Okay, just like connecting with other music nerds online. And someone hit me to this page called the DB's Repercussion, and there's tapes on there of you and like playing with Alex. And again, I think my awareness of you came from Chilton. So forgive me if I keep returning to this well, but this is something that, like, I love records. I like, rock films, but I do have a kind of a thing for bootlegs. And like that being the, live recordings, as flawed as they might be, I enjoy listening to them quite a bit. And I think there's, things out there for people who enjoy that kind of thing of some moment that you were just existing in and probably holding on to for dear life, or luckily there was a taper there,
If you're referring to something I'm on, I would have to hear it, but I don't know. But I mean, great. What's interesting now is with the stem making technology that I guess Peter Jackson helped develop. You can go in and actually take a mono or a stereo recording and pull out the bass and pull out the singing and pull out the drums and kind of make it sound a little better and figure out what was really going on. I saw that Fernando, the great LA guitarist, put up a video of the Lemon Twigs from a live show that, and this is in the last month or two, where he isolated it so it's only the Brian playing bass and them and all four of them singing, no drums, no guitars, and it sounds pretty creepy, but it was really marvelous because Brian is a bass player with few peers, and the fact that they were all singing perfectly and he was playing bass like crazy. It was about as prog as you can get in some ways. It was really astonishing. But I have some fear of that happening to bootlegs I might be on.
Of you being the isolated track?
Yeah, if they want to isolate the bassist on those, I mean, Gene Holder was always doing something remarkable that would hold up to scrutiny. Yeah, I've done a bit of that myself. I mean, are you a Neil Young fan? Have you ever heard Rock, Rot, and Rule by John Worster?
No.
It's got a great thing about Neil Young in there. It's a comedy release, but yeah, I am. I mean, I'm more Broken Arrow and Expecting to Fly, the things with Jack Nietzsche, I guess. I don't know the depth of his catalog.
Okay. Yeah, I had found that. I think there was maybe after they did a Sonic Youth. He did a Sonic Youth tour, or he had a tour where Sonic Youth was opening up. He started doing these kind of feedback experiments between songs, and then made a record of just that stuff, or like just the best of that stuff, called Arc in the early 90s. And recently I went and did a stems thing that was just the guitars and some synthesizer of, when they were doing like anyway, just did a thing like take out the drums and just so it's like just guitar feedback, and made a stems thing of that. Cool. There's cool things that can be done with that kind of stuff. And, I tend to think when you're listening to something like that, like a bootleg or something, my ears tend to kind of tune out the thing that might be a little too loud in the mix. That can be a thing when you're working on a mix in a studio. You can kind of, after hearing something for a certain amount of time, your ears can kind of naturally tune it out. Whereas someone who walks in, hour 8 of your mixing session might step in and go, "Hey, that's too loud," because they're hearing it
right.
Right. So you have your studio still up and running?
Oh yeah. It's on our property. It's it's built from scratch and it's back in the woods. But so it's not an ad hoc room. It's actually a pretty accurate control room and recording spaces. But it's small. But it's going. I mean, I was out there early this morning. I'm working on the Ali Kenny record, and I work in there most all the time.
Yeah. Let's see. And did you record Modernism there, or the parts that need to be worked on anyway?
Yeah, I did a day of tracking in Edmund Easter's studio for the things with Rob Ladd, but a lot of them, I mean, Hey Bulldog, Waterloo Sunset, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again, a bunch of them, the basic track, even the drums, everything was done at my studio. And they were all finished there. All the strings were recorded there. Yeah. And my studio is called Modern Recording, thus the name Modernism. It's a lighthearted nod. It's not supposed to be that this is a brave new march into sonic planets never colonized. It's just a funny title.
Yeah. It sounds like you're having fun, Chris. Like, is there, I don't know, it doesn't seem like you've ever really had that huge hit or anything. Have you always just sort of made music out of the fun and love for it? Or was there ever a time where you felt like you were pushing for something like that, or someone was,
I mean, I think it's generally painful and torture. No, this record was fun. Usually there's a lot of anxiety in doing something creative. I mean, I'm ready to be miserable again. I'm trying to finish a new record, and it's all stuff I've written. So, no, I mean, it's not I mean, there may be potato chips involved, but it's not a party situation.
I love that. That's yeah, like like I said before, I'm a local musician here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm decidedly like in the minor leagues. I'm not, I have friends who, are in national bands, and I've had some opportunities to do bigger things, but I really love what I'm doing. My ethos is like, I want to make music I like with people I like. And I'm very happy doing that. I don't really have any regrets about the choices I've made.
Cool.
That got me here, And so I think with that, maybe I was just fishing a little bit on that end, because I really think whether you've recorded them or played with them or collaborated with them, you have an outstanding resume of working with cool and talented people, and that seems to feed your muse or whatever. It's never, that It's All Right record, that as a great album cover of you're not looking like, like, hey, dig me kind of thing. You got this sort of, here I am. Okay. Like, yeah, man. I mean, that's sort
I have a question for you. You're talking about me collaborating with a lot of different people and saying very nice things. But if you're in Dallas Fort Worth, have you ever played with a guitarist named Bill Ham?
I know Bill, or I know of Bill. Yeah, because a lot of the people I play with, I'm 46. A lot of the people I play with are 20, 15 to 30 years older than me.
Yeah, I mean, Bill must be 76 or something like that now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he came through playing in North Carolina in the 60s in a band called the Yellow Pages, and was such a legend here. I recorded their shows on a reel-to-reel tape, and they were passed around like the Holy Grail. And I gather, I know he went on with Sonny and Cher, I think, and to do a lot of different things. But and maybe he played with the Carpenters for a while. But if you ever talk to him, please tell him that he, among a certain group of folks here, he's considered a rock god or a musical god or something. I mean, we all, a lot of us learned to play listening to these. It was like people who discovered the acetates of Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
Bill Ham was huge.
Awesome.
At that time, just being able to bend a string in tune was kind of unknown. And have to have vibrato and all those techniques that were evolving from Michael Bloomfield, but Bill Ham was he really shook things up. Please, if you run into him, tell him. Maybe you'll hear this.
I absolutely will.
In my book, I said something about him having been later the manager of ZZ Top, and that was really wrong, and I'm really sorry I said that. It was a different Bill Ham who managed ZZ Top. Although it has been reported that the good Bill Ham did that, but I used secondhand knowledge and blew it.
I got you. Easy to make those mistakes. But yes, I will absolutely tell him. That's so cool that he had such an impact, and that was just from seeing him play shows.
I think the Yellow Pages played twice in North Carolina that I know of. Yeah, that was all.
And were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing, man. I love that. And there were there tapes? Did it get recorded, or was it just?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I had a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and I think one of the times I had the tape recorder under the stage, so it is, as you'd expect, kind of muffled, but the other one sounds better. And yeah.
Oh man. Oh, thank you for making a tape of a show, because like I said, man, I'm just a hound for that stuff.
Right.
I'll go to something now and I might, put my phone in my pocket and, or turn it upside down in my pocket and record a little bit and, listen to it again or send it to someone who might be interested. But, you guys in the 60s and early 70s, trying to drag in a reel-to-reel machine, a tape. Was it? Batteries? Are we talking a battery operated?
No, it was, I don't know if it was a Sony 530 or something. I mean, later I had a 660, but I don't remember the model number, but it would have been AC power.
Okay. But then,
like 7-inch, quarter-inch tape.
And you got to find a plug. And I mean, did you ask permission?
Well, people didn't really care at that time, you know. I don't remember. I mean, I remember I recorded Simon and Garfunkel on their first tour in a university chapel with only about 10 people in the audience, and I just brought the machine in the middle, plugged it in to an outlet in the floor, and let it run. Nobody complained. Did
it have a built-in mic, or did you have to supply a mic?
No, they didn't. Those tape recorders didn't have built-in mics. Built-in mics are dubious because they're so close to the motor, they get motor noise.
Yeah. Man, that's so cool. So yeah, okay. Yeah, this fascination with recording does go way back for you.
Oh yeah.
And continues to this day. Yeah, man. Well, I'm excited about this record. I'm gonna dig more into it, and I hope I'll be looking out. I did find the It's All Right record is on YouTube, but just that the inconvenience, you understand, Chris, of having to go through 2 different streaming apps to then to go to a third and find the record I was looking for. I mean, I was exhausted.
Sorry, it's not my fault.
I'm messing with you, man. It's but yeah, that's hopefully it'll come back, mainly so anyone who listening to this can support and rediscover these great things.
I haven't heard that record in a really long time, but I like it when I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, as someone who spun it today, I can tell you. Great, man. But man, I appreciate the time. Will you tour on this record?
No, I think I've gotten caught up in cutting the next record, so I don't think I have plans to tour with this record. I mean, I just played like a month in Europe, but because the release got delayed to this month, the tour I did was completely prior to the record being available.
Yeah.
Records always come out later than you think they're going to come out, unfortunately, but it's nothing new. Didn't miss by much, but it missed by enough.
And then the Big Star current incarnation, does that have do you guys have anything upcoming?
We do. I don't think the shows have been announced yet, but I would look at the West Coast in November. If you're interested in that, but I don't think I'm supposed to say.
I think if we if we got in trouble, that would be the best thing that ever happened to this podcast.
Oh, okay.
For this.
Yeah, but not for me personally. If so,
no, not for you.
If you don't mind.
Well, here's hoping you guys will bring it to Dallas, Dallas Fort Worth sometime soon, and perhaps we could catch up more then.
All right, that'd be great. Just reach out through Howard or in any way, and it's been a delight talking to you. It's nice to talk to a fellow musician.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.